What's up guys, Quezzy or Noah here, coming at you with part 2 of my NFL Fusion jerseys. If you haven't seen part 1 already, be sure to check that out down in the description or wherever, click my channel. And if you enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more. All these uniforms are designed in Photoshop using mockups from my website, templatefc.com. So if you're interested in making your own stuff, be sure to check that out down below. But kicking off part 2, we have the Carolina Panthers. Now this jersey is inspired by the first jersey they ever released or put out. I don't know if they ever wore it, but I know when the team was announced and stuff, this was one of the jerseys that they showed off. It was the light blue with silver numbers. Now, I don't think they've ever worn light blue with silver. I think they've only worn it with white numbers, but I thought the silver numbers were a simple touch to go with the silver helmet. And I went with a more reflective helmet and reflective numbers to kind of match each other and to bring in that more modern feel, that like college football feel. The away jersey then is all white with a black helmet. I think a black helmet for the Panthers would look pretty great. I know they could probably pull off the light blue as well, but the black just seemed more fitting because they use a lot of black. So it made more sense to me. And this uniform features like the black numbers and the black striping with light blue outlines. So the blue is very minimal in this jersey, and the black is more dominant. Now, arguably the most interesting team of this project is the Washington football team because their new name's about to be announced. I'm recording this on the 23rd, and in like 2 weeks, Washington will have a new name, new uniforms, everything. So hopefully these still kind of work. I think I made them pretty generic enough for Washington to still hold up. The helmet, I went with yellow and added the reflective finish here, so it has like a gold kind of finish. They call their yellow gold, so I thought that was fitting. And the helmet logo is their W that they currently used in a circle that is reminiscent of their previous logos that featured the Native American inside the circle, so I thought putting the W inside the circle would work. They also had a version with the R inside the circle, so the circle branding was pretty consistent, so I thought I'd carry that over. The sleeve striping is inspired by their 70s uniforms, very similar to the Steelers striping, but it still looks pretty good. And then the away uniform is the same design, but we went with the burgundy helmet this time, also with a bit of a reflective finish. I'm excited to see what Washington does for their name. I will be making a video on it, designing my own uniforms for whatever name they pick, so stay tuned for that video. Staying in the gutter of the NFC East, we have the Giants. This look is loosely inspired by their 80s uniforms, but the striping is slightly different, but the overall look is pretty simple, and that's how I like it for the Giants because their historic uniforms have always been pretty simple, except for like first couple of jerseys were a little out there. I really like the Giants logo on the helmet, not the NY. I think the Giants logo looks a lot better on the helmet in my opinion. And I added some interesting sock stripes here because adding sock stripes can add a surprising amount to a uniform to make it interesting. I really noticed this when the Browns went back to their previous design a couple years ago. So a uniform like this that's pretty simple, I like to add some sock stripes to give it a little more interest than it otherwise wouldn't have. And the away version also features a white matte helmet, which I think looks pretty cool, especially with the blue face mask and red stripe. I like those, the balance of color there. The Colts were a tough one because they don't really have a uniform to throw back to. Their uniform has always been pretty similar. I went back to the blue helmet because their first uniform used a blue helmet, so that was fitting. I decided to add dots in between the striping of the Colts uniform to replicate the like fullers in the horseshoe logo. So the fullers are the little dots where the nails go into. So I decided to recreate that effect in the striping and on the numbers, which I thought was a really cool look for the Colts. It's basically a concept uniform, not really like a throwback or anything. Of course, I could have done this and just had a blue and white uniform, but I thought the white, I thought that was just a little too boring. So for the away, I went with a lightish blue gray. It would still work as a white jersey, sort of like the Rams bone uniform, but just would be a little off-white gray with the, it's like a cool gray, so it's a little blue in there, and it's pretty interesting. It's something different, and I didn't want them to just have another all-white uniform. I had a choice between the Titans and Texans on which one I should add the Oilers color scheme to, because they both kind of could use it and it would make sense, but since the Titans have the Oilers history, I thought that made more sense. So I went with the classic Oilers look for the Titans here. The striping is a little bit different. I kind of made my own striping with the red, light blue, and white. The helmet logo is the Titans logo, but it's only the T and the stars from their logo because the flaming thumbtack is a little like too much going on for me. I think they can simplify that logo a little bit. So I think the T with the stars is simple enough. But this color combo is great. It's really easy to work with. The away uniform is just like a reverse of the colors, so the white and blues flip. Pretty simple uniform, but these colors really make it, and the Oilers color scheme was fantastic. The silver Seahawks helmet with the reflective finish to it looks so good in my mind. I really love how these uniforms turned out. Of course, I went back to some of their classic uniform design setups. I altered the striping and things a little bit, not too much. I didn't include the logo on the sleeves, for example. I just went with the striping. The blue I used too is more of a royal blue as opposed to the navy that they've pretty much used their whole history. They've always used a darker blue, even though it looks lighter in like older video. It always was not pretty dark, just a little darker, but I definitely lightened it up and went with more of a royal look. And I just think that pops so much with the action green. And you can see on the away jersey too, those colors just really pop. The away jersey also features the silver face mask instead of the blue, just to lighten up the whole uniform a little bit. And I think both of these look so good. I really can't wait to see the Seahawks come out with a throwback when the helmet rule changes, because they're going to have probably the best complete set of uniforms in the league, in my opinion. Like the Colts and a few other teams in this episode, the Texans are hard to make a throwback uniform for because they have no uniform to throw back to. Could have done the Oilers like I mentioned earlier, but I thought that fit with the Titans better. So I kind of just created a whole new uniform for the Texans. And the idea was to just kind of create something that felt a little classic and a little modern. So the striping elements that are on their shoulders, typically I moved to the front on the chest and added a little bit of white with it. The font is similar to what the Colts use with the little serif bits on it. And I thought that felt very classic and gave the uniform a bit of a classic feel that it otherwise wouldn't have. And I added a drop shadow to the uniform that would be red, and it would blend in with the dark navy of the jersey a little bit. So I like that it doesn't pop too much, but it's there. The Texas flag I thought would be a fitting thing to have on the sleeves. It's kind of like what I did for Arizona and what Arizona previously had in their uniforms, having their flag on the sleeves. I thought it worked for the Texans here because their logo is literally the Texas flag inside the bull and everything. So I thought just adding the Texas flag would act as a good secondary logo for them. And then the helmet has the matte finish that I thought worked with the uniform a lot better than a glossy or reflective look. Now this away all white actually might be one of the best uniforms in this project. We have the alternating colors on the sleeves, so we have navy on one side and red on the other, and it has the shoulder stripe that the Texans currently use, but again that also alters colors to be the opposite of whatever sleeve it's on. So the red sleeve has a navy stripe, for example, and then the pants striping matches the side it's on, so the navy sleeve side has the navy stripe and the red sleeve stripe has a red stripe. And I just really love this like dual tone look for them, and then the white helmet. Very interesting look that I would love to see the Texans actually use at some point. I think this is better than their current white jersey. But let me know what you guys think. The Steelers home jersey was probably one of the easiest jerseys I had to do because one, I really love the Steelers when they wear the yellow helmet, and I'm glad they'll be able to bring that back soon. And two, getting rid of white in the uniform and just having the black and yellow, it's so good. It's so easy too. Their Color Rush uniform is basically exactly like this with black pants. But just having black and yellow is so nice. But this whole uniform pops and it's very Pittsburgh and I love it. The away for them is inspired by their 65 away jersey with these yellow sleeves and the black stripes. I also went back to the black helmet here and went with a gray face mask because if you're making a throwback uniform, you can just make the face mask gray, and that's a pretty easy way to do it. A lot of throwback uniforms incorporate the gray face mask and numbers on the helmet too. That's another thing we'll get to. And it's the easiest way to do it, really. I had a few options for the Rams here, but I know they're coming out with a yellow jersey, I believe. I remember hearing this a while ago, so it might not be happening, but I believe they're coming out with a yellow jersey. So that left my options for throwback uniforms very limited. So I thought I'd go to their St. Louis days and rock the navy and gold because that's very different from anything that they currently would be wearing. And I used their current assets, like their current logos, the current horns and everything, just with the navy and gold. I did use the previous St. Louis font though, to kind of blend eras together, I suppose. And I think this look is so great. I have such nostalgia for this color combo for the Rams because I obviously grew up in the St. Louis Rams era. So I always think of them as navy and gold. And I was one of the people that wanted them to go back to their old color scheme, and then they did, and I was happy. But now I have nostalgia for this uniform, and it looks so good. It might be one of those that is like a little polarizing. I don't know how other people feel about it. Let me know what you guys think. The white version then is just all white with the blue sleeves. The white version would probably be the home version for the Rams because I think they wear the lighter colors more often at home, so that would make more sense. But both the navy and white look good. They're just remakes of the St. Louis version. Another tough team to throw back to, we have the Browns, and I just was inspired by their throwback uniform from this season, which is fantastic. They incorporated like the drop shadow on the numbers, added numbers to the helmets, and I did the same thing with the home and away version. I changed the font on the helmet because the font they're using is kind of whack in my mind. I don't really like it, so I use the same font from the jersey. But nothing too crazy going on here. It's a Browns uniform. It's identifiable. It's just something a little different from what they wear every day, just to mix it up. The Ravens uniforms really haven't changed too drastically over the years. They've made little changes, but nothing too wild. But I really like their color rush when they incorporated all purple, brought in purple pants for the first time, and I thought that was a very unique look for them. So my home jersey for them is all purple, and I included a purple helmet here because I would love to see them bring that into the equation at some point. I did go with like the reflective finish. I'm a little iffy on that, and I went with the B logo as well. I'm iffy on that too because their primary logo is very good on a helmet anyway, but I just thought I'd mix it up for this uniform. I decided to go with the black number on the purple jersey to give it a really dark feel. The numbers have the white stroke and the gold stroke on it though, to kind of, the white like helps it pop, and the gold would ideally like catch the light to have that gold glistening a little bit. And then the white version features a lot of purple, so it's obviously a white jersey, but the numbers are purple, the undershirt is purple, helmet purple, just because they use black mainly as their main color. They usually wear black pants, they usually have black undershirts, black helmet, all that. So I thought I would mix it up and go with purple as the main color for the away, just to be different for them. The best set of uniforms in this project are probably the Saints uniforms. I knew before I even started this project, like immediately, I knew exactly what I was doing for the Saints, whether I knew it or not. Like I would have done this 100 times out of 100, pretty much. So I went back and remade their 1969 uniform, which is obviously what their color rush uniform was based on. And I gave them a reflective gold, so the numbers are a little reflective. They got that gradient going on. Same with the gold in the sleeve stripes. I went with the reflective gold helmet, kind of like a Notre Dame helmet. I think that would look fantastic, especially in the dome with all the lights hitting it. The white is the same thing. I did mix up the helmet a little bit for the away, so we have the gold face mask. It'd be an all gold helmet, just to I think that would be an interesting look, be something different for the Saints. But both these uniforms look so clean, they look so good. I think they would really pop and be flashy and just be very fresh for the NFL, honestly. The Packers' recent throwback is awesome. They went with a similar design that I have here. I think I based my design on the same throwback jersey that they did, but the yellow numbers on the green jersey really pops. It's an easy way to like mix up a Packers jersey. Instead of having white numbers, you go with yellow. I did include the white stroke around the numbers just to be a little different from what they're currently wearing, but it's the same like 2 yellow stripes on the sleeves. I still prefer the yellow pants for this jersey, and of course have the yellow helmet. I did include a yellow chin strap and stuff. And I was watching the Packers lose last night to the 49ers actually, and I saw Rodgers and remembered that he only has the old like one chin strap, and I was thinking like, how would they actually, do they have to remake that old helmet when this helmet rule changes, or does he have to wear a modern helmet? Like, how's that whole process gonna work? But the away jersey then is a pretty standard Packers top, very similar to what they currently wear, but the interesting facet here is the green helmet and green pants. Nothing too crazy, but still different for the Packers since they don't really change their uniform up too much. So that change of color is enough to be different and unique and be interesting. By the way, Packers and Titans really messing up my bets yesterday, losing those playoff games. That was rough. Both 1 seeds out, dude. The Bills went from having arguably the worst uniform in NFL history to one of the best in the league, and I think that made us forget how great their red helmets were. The first aspect that I covered in the Bills jersey was going back to the red helmet. The home top is very similar to other Bills uniforms in the past. I took inspiration from several and recreated the striping. I added the collar striping too, so it's a very stripe heavy jersey on the top. But it definitely fits the Bills. The numbers have red drop shadows as well, just to bring in a little more red. I also went with the red pants because they had that at one point in their history for a very brief moment, and I think it's very different from anything else in the league. And would really stand out, like the red, blue, red combo. A lot of colors going on, very bright, which is why I chose it. And then the away is a lot simpler. It's just all white with that red helmet and nothing else too crazy going on. The Chiefs are another team that doesn't have a lot of uniforms to throw back to. Their earlier uniforms were just kind of simple without any striping. So I could have gone that route, but I decided to stick with their current setup with the striping and everything. I just reversed colors. So you can see on the home, the all red, we just flipped the white and yellow, so we have a yellow face mask now. The striping's flipped. The numbers are now yellow with a white stroke. Nothing too crazy, but it does give a completely different feel to the uniform. And the same can be said about the away uniform. Now the yellow dominates in this case. The yellow numbers really stand out. So the whole uniforms have different feels by just flipping those colors, which I think is pretty cool. Very simple, but it would work as a great alternate in my mind. One of the most polarizing uniforms in NFL history is the creamsicle uniform, so I had to go ahead and do that for the Buccaneers. The all white version would actually be the home. because Tampa really likes to wear the white at home now. Obviously in Florida you kind of need it. It gets a little humid, a little hot down there. And the all-white version of the Screamsicle looks a lot better. The white helmet. I love the way the red and orange look together. I know they still have the orange in their color scheme, but they don't really use it. So I'd love to see them bring it out in an alternate like this. The noteworthy part of this uniform is the helmet logo, which just features the skull and swords part of their flag logo. And I weathered and like distressed this, so it looked more like a pirate flag would look. Obviously it's nothing too crazy, it's very simplistic because this is a sticker going on a helmet, but I thought it was like a subtle enough look to be kind of cool. And then their away or second version of this uniform would be all creamsicle, so orange on orange, which I think would be pretty cool looking. It's very different. I don't know if people would like it. The all white look is definitely really good in my mind, and this one is just like the second option. It's the little brother, I guess. But that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoy. If you do, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel for more. I have more jersey designs and things coming out soon. Whatever Washington changes their name to, I'm going to be redesigning their uniforms. I have a college football episode coming out soon, and a few other things lined up. MLB Part 2 on the way. So subscribe for more. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.